Fathers, food is such an important part of our daily existence. And I think it's something that's often overlooked and unappreciated on how to eat, what to eat. And I want to talk about that today. I have a guest today that's I consider an expert in this area. His name is Michael Rybacki. Michael's not yet a father. In fact, he's not even married, but he hopes to be soon. And he's maintaining his health and fitness for that day. And Michael throws solar panels up on roofs for a living. He runs 5Ks. Never been to a doctor in 30 years. He says he maintains a lot of his health through his dietary choices. You know, it's very possible that what we think is our best meal is Michael's worst. And he's going to show us a little bit about this today.
Got some nice nasturtiums here. They're edible flowers. Kind of peppery, you can put it on your salad. And then today we're going to harvest a little bit of a komatsu spinach. You just, all this is organic, so you might see a little bit, some of it is a little holier than others, you know, you can tell. Because there's no pesticides or herbicides. And see, you got a little guy right there, he's watching me. Kind of is making sure. Hello, buddy. See, if you don't bother, they're kind of friendly little grasshoppers.
Now, does he eat your crops?
Probably.
But you're willing to share?
Willing to share a little bit with the little guy grasshopper. So now we have...
You'd rather share than eat a pesticide?
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, you don't see too many of them, you know, and they kind of like it there. So, might as well make his day, you know?
It's a pretty nice handful of spinach here in just one bunch.
Yeah, and you can tell there's plenty more.
I'm used to spinach being like leaves this big. This is different.
When you cook them, they'll kind of get that small. Here's our community. This is other people's gardens, so we can't pick out of that. But we have some community, whatever this is, I don't know, it might be thyme or rosemary. We could put a couple sprigs of that on. And
take some parsley.
Nice parsley. Could put some parsley on. This is all community. So it's donated, and also people can come in and take as much as they want.
It smells good. When you break the stem, it smells really good.
It does. I think this is sage, some type of sage. A couple of sprigs of that. Oh no, this is, I don't know what this is actually. This might be some sort of a sweet tarragon. This is sage here.
Yeah, that looks like sage.
This is sage. This is, I think, a sweet tarragon. This is the sweetest tarragon you ever want to try.
Wow.
I have one more thing too. In my garden, I have a little bit of mint. So this would be the mint right here.
Nice.
Get things a little
fresh
minty.
mint.
Fresh mint.
Hello, fathers. We're here at Michael's house, and along that way, he believes in eating healthy, which I believe he can share some things today to help us increase our health and vigor so we have more energy for our children. So, Mike, what do we got here today?
Yes, today, elite meal, but it's kind of like a quick meal that anybody should have like around the house just to fill your stomach with something healthy. Have medications floating around, and eating healthy can help cut down. It certainly did in my life. I haven't had so much as even an aspirin in maybe 35 years.
Wow.
So my medicine cabinet is actually a food cabinet, like with ginger, baking soda, castor oil, all that good stuff. But it's real food, and it works.
So it sounds like in order to not run to the most easiest, fastest solution, which guys tend to do, grab that bag of chips, grab something quick and easy out of the fridge. It sounds like you're more intentional in having food that's really healthy but quick.
But so the main part today is the tofu. It's not just regular tofu, but it is sprouted tofu. I just get this at Trader Joe's. And sprouted tends to make it more digestible for your body to absorb nutrients.
Okay.
If you have a lot of non-sprouted or non-fermented especially soy. It's kind of hard on the system. But
Yeah.
this is not fermented, but it's kind of a halfway there. So it's sprouted tofu. This has been fermented, actually. This is these are just lentils that I soaked for a few days. And this is my cheesecloth. So a couple days, it just gets rinsed. And then after like 2 days, then you just let it sit.
I'm seeing sprouts coming out of these here.
It is sprouted, so it goes through the sprouting stage, and then you can smell it. If it starts to smell a little bit like Parmesan cheese, maybe.
That smells really good.
But it's amazing like how many foods, like grains and beans and things, how they smell differently. But a lot of them do smell like Parmesan cheese, but other them smell like different types of cheese. And that's the fermentation. It's a natural fermentation process. So there's a lot of studies on this. Then you have more chance for phytic acid to get into the foods. And what tends to dissipate or break up the phytic acid is fermentation. That's why we like fermentation. That's why all the grains, all the beans, I put it through a fermentation process to break down that phytic acid. And then we have organic butternut squash.
All right.
It's easy to get.
Now why do you choose organic? Just I know there's a lot of reasons, but which one of your?
Because the pesticides tends to dumb down the foods. In other words, it tends to make them less nutritionally.
Okay.
It lowers tends to lower the nutritional content.
Okay.
And so the value of the food goes down.
Right.
It might be sugary, it might be big, fat, and plump, but the nutritional content usually suffers when you don't have organic.
Okay. So there's a lot of other reasons to eat organic, but as far as you're concerned, like your selfish reasons, it's good because you're getting more nutrition in an organic product.
More bang for the buck.
Yeah.
Less trips to the doctors.
Okay. So you're just trying to
Because a lot of times our
maximize
bodies get broken down because we have lack. So one lack could be like
we don't lack.
Right. So lack of organic butternut squash, lack of fermented lentils.
Okay.
Lack of sprouted tofu, right?
Wow.
I mean, these things are natural, but when we start lacking the natural things that our body craves on an unconscious level,
now
we pay for it on the back end of things.
So what came from the garden today? I know I was there today.
From the garden, we have nasturtiums. That's going to be a food topper. It's a flower. It's edible flower. It's got a peppery taste. We're going to mix this in. This is sage. This is, I think, rosemary or thyme.
Okay.
Somebody in the audience might have a better idea what that is. This is mint from the garden, and this is the mystery herb. It smells really good. It might be some sort of basil. Can you smell it? Because there's a lot of different varieties of basil.
It smells like basil to me.
Right. I think this is some
basil.
sort of variety of basil, but this isn't from the garden. This is organic ginger.
I was gonna say you cheated.
Right. And white onion.
And that looks familiar.
Yeah, parsley. Parsley is from the garden. Sorry.
Yeah. And what'd you do with the spinach?
This is from the store-bought organic lettuce, green lettuce.
What'd you do with all that big leafy spinach we got?
Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. So,
Wow, look at this fridge. Now this is a guy who's serious about health. I'm just seeing fruits and vegetables.
So this is more sprouted tofu. We'll probably actually use that one because it's already open. These are neat products. You can get Ezekiel brand, again, sprouted grain bread, Ezekiel, right out of 4:9 from the Bible. The same company actually makes gluten-free wraps, tortilla wraps.
Oh, made out of brown rice?
Food for life, yes.
Where do you get this?
These are from the local food cooperative in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
East End Food Cooperative.
Okay.
You find a food cooperative?
Our regular store in the neighborhood, though?
Not really.
Okay.
They might have them at Whole Foods or another healthy store.
And I'm seeing these more wholesome beverages here. I don't see a lot of alcohol.
No. Not unless it ferments. Sometimes it ferments on its own. It does get a little alcohol-y.
Yeah.
You can do that if you buy organic grape juice. It will do that on you. And you can get lucky, a little bit of free wine. Minerals, sparkling mineral water. We have this. I like this because it has mulberries in it. You don't see too many mulberry juice around.
No.
And we have 100%. Cherry juice.
I'm seeing Trader Joe's. That's a common store around the country.
It is. This is interesting that you want to take a note of. We might cook with this today. I'm not sure. Einkorn. Einkorn means first wheat.
Oh.
Only 2 sets of chromosomes. Modern wheat today has 6 sets of chromosomes. It's so complicated, a lot of people are allergic to it. Because
So first wheat, this is the wheat that our ancestors would have eaten.
Yes. Probably the closest, I don't think you can have one pair of chromosomes, so it's probably closest to the way that God created it. And they rediscovered it recently. This has only been recently marketed.
Nice.
And so you can make things like, well, here's raw milk. Definitely want to have raw milk. This is cow's milk.
I drink raw milk. I love it.
Raw
It
milk.
just tastes 100% better. You know, there's
here's
actually
soy
like
milk.
11% fat in
almond
milk.
milk.
Did you know that? Like
much?
naturally, it's like 11% in cow's milk. So when you buy whole milk, it's only 4% at the grocery store.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
cheating you. They're cheating
cheating
you
you.
out.
The one quick thing about the Einkorn, again, is they have cookies and stuff, and they also have spaghetti. It's
Wow.
made from 100% Einkorn. It even says the organic ancient wheat. So companies are marketing this good stuff. So let's put some of these leaves out here too. This is spinach. This is komatsu spinach.
I never saw. I mean, it's, like I said, the spinach leaves are much bigger than the ones I'm familiar with.
It's an heirloom variety of spinach.
Okay.
Get Baker Seed Company. Give them a plug.
Pretty impressive here. Now, you said 30 years you haven't had any health problems.
I have had quite a number of health issues, but I haven't been to the doctors.
Oh.
And I
okay.
haven't taken medication in 30 to 40 years. So I think I had a bout with botulism, staphylococcus infections, streptococcus.
Oh, that's the kind of common stuff that we all get from time to time then. Like
Yeah,
strep
they're pretty
throat or-
heavy-duty diseases.
Oh, okay.
But I think I tracked mine down to having mercury fillings improperly removed. And so the mercury goes into the brainstem, it gets enlarged, and now the body's more prone to bacterial infections.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of things that we might be able to get into later, foods that help pull.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing that helps pull mercury out of the body is chlorella. This is a company called Quantum Nutrition Labs, based in Austin, Texas.
I think I need to.
So this will help detox metals from the body.
I do, because I eat a lot
That's
of
what the literature says.
fish, because I'm trying to avoid like beef and chicken, and I love fish and it's healthier. But because of that, there's a lot of heavy metals, I think, probably.
Well, okay, so studies on that is that when you eat fish through the digestive process, it tends to stay in the bloodstream, which can be more easily removed. Whereas mercury that gets introduced through fillings or vaccines, like thimerosal, it actually goes through the blood-brain barrier, and now that's really hard to get out. So
Okay.
when you eat fish that's got mercury in it, it's that type of mercury in the fish isn't going to. There's not too many
Linger.
studies that show it crosses the blood-brain barrier, which is really bad.
That's good news.
So it's much easier to have
for
it
us,
flushed out of the body.
for
And
us
it's not.
fish eaters.
You can't compare it to fillings
Yeah.
or thimerosal in vaccines.
So chlorella would still help with just general heavy metals, though.
General heavy metals like aluminum. Well, aluminum's not a heavy metal, but mercury. There's silver poisoning.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, you can all call them heavy metals, bad metals.
No more heavy metal. I grew up with heavy metal, different kind of heavy metal, and that wasn't good for me either, by the way. the music heavy metal.
Right.
That wasn't really any good.
Once it gets in the ears, you could get an ear infection. You know?
Exactly. Brain infection. It definitely affected my brain. Ozzy Osbourne's Diary of a Madman. Yeah, it's not exactly a good medicine to be for your head.
All right. So I like to cook from flame. Where I live, I don't have a flame surface. I use it as a backup. If we run out of fuel, I'm going to have to put the electric on. We'll see how much fuel I have left. These are just little fuel canisters. Whoops, probably close to being out. So sorry. But anyways, these work pretty interesting.
It's totally portable.
See, it just goes right on.
Pick it up.
And I like to cook out of iron.
Cook it in the bathroom while you're in the tub.
Yeah,
Cook out back.
Iron's
wherever.
much more healthy for you.
Yeah.
So here I'm just going to, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I like to use lemon water, put lemon water in.
Okay.
Now this time around, I have different types of salts. I always buy different types of salts. This salt is black salt. It actually tastes like Easter eggs at Easter time. Like, you know, the whole kitchen is you hard boil the eggs.
Let's try that.
It tastes like a whole pile of Easter eggs. It's got so much sulfur in it.
Oh, it does.
Yes, it's so good. You can just eat it.
It does. It smells just like an Easter egg when you open it up in that yolk.
Right. So this is some black salt. I think it comes from volcano type of areas. So, you know, the sulfur fumes in the volcanoes.
Yeah.
So sulfur naturally in food, I think sulfur drugs were the miracle drugs of the time before penicillin became famous.
Wow. So
But
little
it
bits of
should
sulfur is
still
actually
be.
good for little bits of sulfur is good for your health then?
Well, even a fair amount, because think of the hot springs that people go to for therapeutic value, for the sulfur springs.
I heard about
because
them.
the sulfur comes through the skin, it helps heal the body. But just think of all the sulfur drugs that they used to have to help people heal their diseases. Again, before penicillin became famous, but it's, you know, making a comeback. So anything that, even if you drink water from wells that have sulfur in it, you can smell it. It's very good, strong for the body.
Wow.
So sulfur helps everything. So this sulfur from the volcanic ash, I guess, in the salty areas, you're really getting, again, medicine in a bottle.
Now I've heard that people that had near-death experiences and visited the outside of hell, they smelled a lot of sulfur. So I don't know if it's synonymous with hell or not, but I'm wondering if you have too much sulfur, is it actually bad for you? If it's in hell, but
well,
I don't think you're worried about eating too much of that salt because it's super salty, so you probably don't add too much.
yeah, I mean, God's got the right formula, right?
Yeah.
So just trust Him, at least with the food part of it. Just like anything else in life that God ordains, like marriage is good, but fornication is not.
True. Yeah.
So,
You do it outside the
and God shows us, you know, sulfur
Doing
in
it
hell is
outside the
bad,
prescriptions.
sulfur in foods is good.
Yeah.
So we can make that distinction.
Nice.
All right, so this is going to, the cook times on this fermented, so this would normally take maybe 20, 25 minutes. It's probably only going to take like 12.
Okay.
Half the time, 13 minutes, because it's already pre-digested. You don't have to cook it as long
That's
once
wild.
it's fermented and sprouted.
I missed the part when you first start. Did you get these beans dried?
Yes, this is what they look like dried. So these are you just buy them, get them in a store, buy organic like lentil beans.
Oh wow! And then what's the process to get them sprouted then?
Here, so we had the bowl. You rinse it for a few days, and you have your cheesecloth.
So you're just rinsing and covering cheesecloth.
Sit it on your counter, and just keep rinsing it. After 2 days, do not rinse it anymore.
Does it have
just
to
stir it?
Does it have to sit in water or?
Just enough to cover it. See how much water is in there?
Okay. And then
they will start fermenting after you soak it.
How many days is 3?
Depends on how warm the weather is. Could be 1 day. It could be 3 or 4 days in the winter.
And then so this is uncooked at this point. It's just all from sitting there, soaking and fermenting.
Right.
Okay.
Now, one thing I put in every single meal I can is sea vegetables. Some people call it seaweed. Probably kombu or wakame. Those are the two most prevalent brands of sea vegetables.
So this is normally filled up with dried seaweed?
Yes, filled up to the top.
Okay.
I go through a lot of it.
And you get that at a Korean store maybe?
Yeah, any type of Oriental supermarket or
Okay.
or Asian. You can even get it in a store that's got an Asian section, international section. So you can eat this raw. You can eat it cooked. But this
That looks starting to look
is like a health food store in a bottle, because it's so nutrient dense as far as minerals.
good. Okay. Wow. And then you're
It's
only
off the
needing that
charts.
much
Right.
out of that giant
You
jar.
only need maybe 6 grams a day or less, which is like 1/5 of an ounce.
Okay, wow.
And some depending on what type of sea vegetables you get, some of them in just 5 or 6 grams have over 1,000% of the iodine that you need for a day.
That's impressive.
And if you go through a list, sometimes you find something online, you might find 100 different minerals that they have listed in sea vegetables. Almost every mineral in the periodic chart is dissolved in the sea. So the sea vegetables pick that up. Now my flame just went out, so we're going to switch to back up here. So that should be...
So now we have to use good old electricity, but hey, we just installed solar panels today for our house, so our carbon footprint's smaller, even though we're cooking with electric today.
All right, so we have iron. Almost always cook with iron. It's nutritional for your body, and it's self-cleaning. You don't have to use soap to clean it. I use a lot of wood, as you can tell, like wooden plates, wooden forks,
Wow.
wooden utensils. Because wood, you don't use soap either. It's self-cleaning. It has tannins. Tannin is like an astringent. Think of like rubbing alcohol or witch hazel. It's an astringent. It naturally, not rubbing alcohol, but
Yeah.
natural astringents like witch hazel.
Present.
They have.
So it's basically
So
what
that
you're saying
and
is
the
you're a
tannin basically
bachelor.
kills bad germs.
Basically, you're saying you're a bachelor that doesn't do any dishes.
Right. Nor wants to spend money on
when
soap.
when you do have kids, they're gonna love you. They're gonna be like, Dad, all my friends do dishes. Why do we never have to wash our spoons and our plates and our pans?
Yeah.
It's like,
So I got a lot to share with my future children. You can even get doohickeys like this. It's like a scoopy scupper. And
Yeah.
this is like a
Well, those
spoon.
things used to be used as corporal punishment, I believe, back in the day.
These guys were.
Oh, okay.
So that's when you apply it to the seed of knowledge. It tends to get cracked.
And I don't know if every father stomach would
yeah,
growl in
bro.
this situation, but because eating healthy is sort of like a conditioning process.
It is. It takes a long time. It took me years. It's habits.
So, fathers, you may look at this food and it may think it looks gross or maybe just no appetite for it. But I want to touch on that subject now because I believe this is something that you can acquire. If you don't like it today, you might like it tomorrow. Let's talk about that.
It's something that, like for me, it's a willful habit, and it took years to develop, and a lot of reading, a lot of courses, a lot of field trips. Reading the Bible is really helpful, and it just takes practice and time.
So, talk about taste and desire for eating.
So eventually, the food that's natural for you is going to taste better and better, and the unnatural junk food is going to taste worse and worse.
Yeah.
You can get to the point, and I think I'm pretty much at the point where if I ever had a can of Pepsi or McDonald's or just a fast food burger or something, I would probably throw up. I mean, you get to that point where you don't even want to smell it anymore. And it's a good thing, in a good way, because you know it's healthy. So it's almost like the Bible does use the word addiction once. It warns us to just be addicted to the things of God. This food is from God. The other food that's processed, not prepared, but processed, that's from man.
Yeah.
And so that tends to form an addiction. So God's kind of like compare and contrast. Just focus on me and you won't get addicted to the bad stuff. If you focus on man-made, again, not preparation, but adulterations. These are actually like a lot of the foods that you find is adulterated. So that's a good word to use. But once you start breaking that habit, all of a sudden, you feel better, you feel closer to God, and your body tells you that this is better for you. And you can't really eat the bad foods anymore. You just can't.
Yeah, it's not even appealing.
It's painful.
It's not appealing. It's not like it's a temptation to go buy a McDonald's anymore. It's actually it's actually like really uncomfortable. I can experience some of this too, though I don't eat regularly like you do. In fact, I'm looking forward to eating more healthy now that I've been speaking with you. But I know what you mean. Like I lived behind McDonald's for 7 years. I think we went there like 3 times, and that's mainly because of my kids. I don't really have an interest in eating there.
Right, and like some foods take longer. There are some foods I was able to like soft drinks like overnight. Ice cream took me literally about 10 or 12 years. A lot of prayer. I just couldn't shake the desire.
Well, I love ice cream.
But it eventually did kick in.
Really? So you don't need ice cream now?
Not unless it's made with like 100% like organic cream
Yeah.
and very little sugar.
Okay.
It's interesting taste. Ice cream has a totally different taste when the sugar isn't there.
Yeah.
Between ice cream and soft drinks. They say that those are the two like prepared foods. Prepared like adulterated foods that we eat that have the highest sugar content.
Okay, that makes
Amazing
sense. Yeah.
high amounts of sugar in soft drinks and
Yeah.
ice cream. And if soft drinks are sugar free, they're not drug free, because they usually use an artificial drug that's even worse than sugar.
So
they can say it's sugar free, but it's not drug free.
so I get the sense that any sugar you get is just from the natural fruits and vegetables you eat. Is that true, or do you add sugar to anything, or?
If it's derived from natural foods, like dates, you can get date syrup. There's a grain called sorghum. You can get sorghum syrup.
Okay.
Rice syrup, barley malt. These are all relatively sweet. Syrup made from grapes. It's like a thick syrup. Apples, like thick syrup from apples.
Now,
But I have these right now. I just have
Yeah.
them seasonal. Just every now and then, I like to
I
indulge
think
a little bit.
that's amazing. But why don't you think? Because the sugar cane is natural.
It is.
So it's
And I've eaten that before. If you go to the supermarket and you get the actual sugar cane itself, because they sell pieces sometimes, and you suck on it, it's food grade. It doesn't taste like sugar. It tastes like a food that's sugary.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's because it's processed. It's like
Processed.
concentrated.
Concentrated. The
But when
bad is concentrated and the good is sifted through.
Oh, okay.
So you lose
when
that.
you're eating your maple syrup or something like that, it's more wholesome because it's not extracted. It's the whole sugar plant, the
Right.
whole sugar.
Yep.
had,
And there's different grades too. They say
compound.
grade B is actually better than grade A because grade B is not processed as much.
Oh,
If you
really?
can find grade B.
Okay.
Let me check on the. All right. So at this point, you see how it's kind of cooking down a little?
Oh yeah, it looks like there's hardly anything in the pan.
Now I oiled the pan
My
with
son Michael will not be happy to see that little quantity of food in there.
walnut oil. You can get to the store, but that's what I oil the pan with.
Yeah.
This is 100% Kalamata oil.
Yeah, there's not a lot of food in this thing. But the thing is, it's nutritionally powerful food. So quantity-wise, it's not a lot of quantity, but it's a huge amount of quality.
It's going to fill you up a lot quicker. These foods tend to fill the stomach quick,
That's amazing.
better than any quantity.
So you don't
can.
have to stretch your stomach out to be full. You just need to put the right foods in it.
And
Plus, your stomach doesn't need to be stretched, because over time, the less you eat, the smaller it gets. So that you can get full quicker, if you're eating smaller quantities over time. So your stomach's
go
probably
to-
pretty small because you're eating this small quantity here daily.
Exactly. So the tofu, the sprouted tofu, will pick up the flavor of anything that you put in there. So it's going to pick up the flavor of the sea vegetables, of the lemon water.
Wow.
It's a neat, interesting thing about tofu. And so we'll just put it all in the rest
I've
of it.
had people say they didn't like tofu, but really, it's just got a plain flavor. And really, if you think about chicken, it's pretty plain. Unless you add spices and sauces and things. Chicken doesn't
yes.
taste that much different than tofu. It's just a plain, pretty boring food without anything added to it.
Right. If you have chicken that's not marinated,
Yeah.
it just tastes like cardboard almost.
Yeah, it's almost like there's nothing in your...
So we're going to put this part in the refrigerator. We're going to put our pieces of organic organic butternut at this time, because these are getting close to, the lentils are getting close to being cooked. I don't have too much further to go. I have my screen door open, so if you see some bugs flying around.
Flies don't even like this food. It's too healthy for them. They're looking for the ice cream and the soda. Pop. I just say pop in Pittsburgh. I'm not from here.
So what we're going to do at this point Just kind of let that cook in a little bit. We're kind of making a production out of this, but you can tell it doesn't take much to throw lentils in, throw your squash in, throw your tofu in.
Yeah, it's
just
not
let it cook for 10,
it's
15
not
minutes.
hard from
Not
a
hard.
chef's perspective. You know, it's not.
So what we're going to do at this point is you mentioned spicing it up a little bit.
Uh-oh, you
This
got
is
a mortar
a,
and pestle here. My goodness.
Mortar and pestle. I think the Japanese call it surabachis.
Srirachis.
Surabachi. So
You
for
sure
the
about just-
surabachi, I'm sure about this. So we have some sweet tarragon from the community garden. This is
Oh,
it's dried.
yeah, that's the stuff you were.
So we dry it ourselves.
Look at that.
Some in there.
You get herbs
You
from.
smell that?
You're not getting herbs from McCormick. You're actually doing them yourself.
Do it myself.
How did you dry them?
In a you can use like a cookie sheet
Look how clean
or a
that
metal
oven
pan.
is. My goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not roasting a lot of steaks in there.
And just
So-
put this on the back windshield of your car.
Okay.
So it keeps
That-
the
yeah,
bugs
that
out
makes
and the
sense.
sun dries it immediately.
So it's like a one-day deal.
Yes, sir.
So he's mostly using his car to dry it out. If you see herbs growing, it's not marijuana, folks. He's growing tarragon, sweet tarragon too.
This is dried sage. You might want to put a couple black peppercorns in. Just a couple, maybe like 3 or 4.
This is going to be good because you're grinding it fresh.
Grinding it fresh. And this helps in digestion. Well, actually, let me see. This is dill from
From the garden?
another garden.
Yeah, I used to grow dill in my house as an herb.
Again, it doesn't take much once you get in the habit to dry all this stuff. Just throw it in a pan, put it back in your car, it's dried, put it in a bottle, you're done.
That's actually a lot easier than I thought, to dry it. You're just,
This is very good for digestion. These are fennel seeds. These are store-bought. But they got a licorice type of flavor.
yeah,
Really
they're
helps
strong.
soothe the stomach.
I used to hate that flavor when I was a kid, though. Black licorice.
Really?
Yeah, I still kind of really don't like it. But for some reason, when you cook with it, it's different.
And that's what we're going to do. So this just gets,
So I feel like we're back in like caveman days or something.
brings back memories, huh?
Yeah, ancient memories. Stones grinding herbs.
Use both hands, so you get a workout with both your wrists. You can tell it just kind of gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Wow. I didn't realize how easy that is to do that. Plus, you're getting physical exercise. Like, people go to the gym to do that type of stuff,
Right, and this is free.
But you're doing it for your meals. Like, there's a purpose here.
Electricity, you can put it in a spice grinder. I do have an electric spice grinder, but
But then our carbon footprint.
carbon footprint, and you gotta remember, like your outlet in your house, that's called alternating current. Whenever you use alternating current, it can put an agitated type of energy into the food process. So this is a peaceful, like body, like sharing
Yeah.
type of energy. When you get it out of a wall outlet or electric stove, it tends to get agitated because it's artificial energy.
So
It
these-
doesn't exist
wow.
naturally in the world.
So he's saying we're impacted in ways we might not even really consciously understand just because of the artificial ways that we're getting our energy, processing our food. I mean, you think
Gotta
about,
think about everything.
yeah, you have to think about that.
And one thing I think about is getting a basting brush. So you take your basting brush.
Okay, now he's got a paintbrush. He calls it a basting brush, but I call it a paintbrush because I'm a contractor. Okay, so you're cleaning that out with the Sherwin-Williams brush. Wow,
So that
Look at
gets
this.
mixed in a little bit.
just the richness and the flavors and the smells.
Yep.
I'm so hungry.
So we're gonna just try to get those spices mixed in.
And you're even using you don't even use a metal lid, like.
This is bamboo.
So even the lid affects the food?
Right, because I mean you could use stainless steel, but again that's an unnatural product, and there is a thing called nickel poisoning. I'm not sure how much nickel actually leaches out of stainless steel, because stainless steel is iron and nickel.
Okay.
Legionnaire's disease, remember in Philadelphia?
So if you have a stainless steel
poisoning
pot,
through the
your food
airbag
is
system.
touching the stainless steel.
Yes.
Potentially you're getting that leaked
Potentially a
into
little
your
bit,
food. Yeah.
maybe. It's something to think about. So like this, I do have some stainless steel around, as you can tell, but this is a ceramic. Ceramic is very good to cook out of. It's very healthy.
Okay.
It's like a natural, earthy product. So after I release the pressure, now I shake it up.
Okay.
So now it's all
we're
mixed in now.
Nice.
So that's what you want. That's a high mineral content. So then you can just
Wow,
take
that's
your
delicious.
stuff and just kind of pour it in together.
He's making a mixed drinks, folks, and it's totally healthy, like beyond healthy. Wow.
Okay, bon appetit.
Yeah,
Here's
Bon
to healthy
appetit.
fathers and healthy children.
absolutely. Healthy fathers, happy children.
Fruity.
Yeah, I love the kick. It's like you're drinking soda, you know, because you put the sparkling water with
Right.
the fizz.
Get that effect.
I'm in it. I'm into it.
Okay, we're gonna add our spices real quick. So we don't want to cook these for too long, just a couple minutes. You don't want them dead spices, you want kind of like live spices. So I'm actually just gonna bunch them up with my hand,
Okay.
except for the thyme.
Okay. You want to overdo it. You want some of those enzymes not be killed off or cooked off.
That's right, you don't want to have high heat for too many enzymes. So we're just gonna cut it up in our hands. We just cut it in little pieces. It's all mashed together. Get a nice sharp knife.
They're good at that because I always have to use a cutting board because I'm always, I think I'm
You
going
use
to cut
either
myself.
or. Okay, so we're gonna add a little bit more water. Okay, so then here comes the ginger. Fresh ginger. I want to have fresh ginger. Again, just
Right
cut,
from the root, yeah.
cut up in little pieces. Just shave it in there.
The
This will
ginger
give it
grows
some-
underground, right? That's a.
It's a root. So you can smell that. And so I have my komatsu spinach. It's a bamboo strainer, I guess, or colander, or whatever.
Oh, wow. No plastics.
No
No
plastics.
plastics.
Okay, so now we just wait a couple more minutes.
He's going to have a foreign wife. There's no way an American would deal with this.
Okay, so we're going to prepare equally a couple plates here. We're going to put some onions in. You don't want to cook onions too long. The best thing with onions is to maybe cook them for like a minute or two.
Okay.
You can overcook them and they tend to lose a lot of nutritional value.
Okay.
It's the same thing. I'm putting a little bit of onion skin. It's okay if you chew on that. High minerals, high sulfur. But we're
Really?
gonna
There's sulfur in that?
Yeah, that's why onions. We talked about sulfur a little earlier,
Yeah.
like in the salt. That's one of the reasons why onions and garlic is so healthy, because it's got a lot of sulfur in it.
Oh, wow. In the whole onion or just the skin part?
Skin, I think, I'm not sure about the sulfur content, but the skin, usually with just about anything, tends to have a higher mineral content.
Oh, okay. The skin does.
Yes.
So you eat skin. I like the skin. I see
Yeah,
skin
it's-
on this. Is that the squash skin?
Yes. So the squash has its original skin. You didn't take it off. Eat
Okay.
it, because you're getting the whole food that way. Start off with the spinach, which is steamed. And feel free to use your hands. It's not a big deal.
All right.
Just kind of put it to the side, maybe.
And this mayonnaise is actually made from, it's vegan.
Made from grape seeds.
Yeah, it's
We put a little bit of apple cider vinegar.
that's amazing flavor.
It looks like a small batch type of deal. You can look that up online. It's a local health food store. It's a little dab. Now this is an interesting product that I like to use. It's actually a man at a farmer's market in the state of Virginia. He actually presses his own pecans and makes his own pecan oil.
Wow.
And this is pure taste of the South. It's
Oh wow.
It's got a subtle
This
taste.
is exotic. This is probably
pecans.
expensive too, no doubt.
No doubt.
Because you know you don't get a lot of oil out of one nut, so that's.
But it's worth it. Where else
This is
can you
worth it.
find
This is super quality food
Virginia-made
here.
pecan? And then now,
I see why you keep it in the safe.
it is locked up. So I just kind of scoop a few things out. A little bit of everything.
Wow. When you add it with all the other foods, it actually does look like more quantity. It does look. It's impressive. This is impressive. It just looks completely different than a typical meal at the diner, you know.
Yeah, it's not diner food. And then condiments. This is a Trader Joe's soy sauce, but it is actually fermented.
Well, here we go with the fermented.
You want to stay away from any type of soy sauce that is not fermented at least 6 months.
Where does it say fermented on there?
Trader Joe's soy sauce is packed by a company in Japan which uses a traditional 6-month to 2-year natural brewing and fermentation.
Nice.
You just read the label.
Wow.
But no less than 6 months. And most commercial soy sauces are flash pasteurized
Okay.
or flash brewed, which really isn't a brewing process. It's a
Do you
chemical
do you
process.
pour it in the side and then dip it, or?
Let's pour a little bit here. This is just something you can find in the store. Just all natural ingredients: roasted garlic, Dijon, and rosemary.
Wow. Let's try some of this.
I'll let you pour on as much as you
Aged
want.
soy. Where'd you put it? Anywhere.
I just went from here to there. Then we have another Trader Joe's product, organic dressing.
So aged, it's very slow pouring.
Well, you're getting the last of the bottle there.
Yeah, that stuff. Let me try that. All the good stuff has corks.
So, right. So what happens with the corks is when I buy a product and it has a plastic cap, I take off the plastic cap and I use natural cork because the plastic can put chemicals in the food that you don't want in there. And plus it tends to kill the flavor.
Isn't that wild?
So invest in corks.
Oh, I see. So you take the cap off and put a cork.
If it's got a plastic cap.
Yeah.
This is a metal cap. I tend to keep that on. Metal cap, I tend to keep it on.
I mean, wow.
But
All right, let's try this out.
I'm not sure. Let me see. I'll give you a...
It's going to be a wooden fork here. I can't use chopsticks too well.
I'm used to using a spoon. Here's your fork.
It is a wooden fork.
Yes.
And it's not a spork.
Now it's not a spork. All right, so time to dig in.
Wow. This is amazing.
I have the number for the local ambulance service in case you pass out from how delicious it is.
I'm feeling it right now. Look at this. There's that nasturtium flower right in there. Man. We know that's fresh because we picked it today.
Yep. And your listening audience was there when we picked it.
That's right. Oh, wow. Yeah, That squash totally tastes different with all the spices in it.
You might have 30 or 40 different foods represented here. If you look at all the ingredients, which are natural, all the different spices and herbs and, and the different, like this juice has 7 different fruits in it just from that. So I would say a good 30 or 40 different kinds. Whereas
Wow, that's
the
a good
average
point.
meal that someone prepares with processed food, what do you have? Like maybe 4 different foods?
That's a good point.
Tomato,
you might have like
potato, wheat,
and
and
cheese.
sugar.
Yep.
And cheese.
Wow, this is amazing. So your body's getting like that whole range, that big range of everything from sulfur to iron to, and we're not getting the nickel.
We're getting the nickel from the stainless steel. Now, would you like some cave ripened raw milk cheese?
Mm-hmm. I think my body's craving this
So
food.
this is a Gruyere cheese. It's a famous cave ripened raw milk cheese.
Oh. You don't play games with your cheese.
No.
Cave ripened.
Again, you want to have cheese that's not flash pasteurized or flash fermented or grown. You want to have something that's at least 6 months again. 9 months, a year, 2 years is better. If you're not willing to wait for something, it's probably not good for you.
I mean, if you only ate this stuff, that's all you did. You had children you were raising from childhood, and they were exposed to this from day one. Think how much more comfortable they'd be with this food than, say, the other foods that the other kids are eating.
There are kids like that. Maybe you'll find them someday for your interviewing process.
Oh yeah, that would be really good. Kids that grow up on this kind of food.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. It's a powerhouse.
Powerhouse.
So I'm going to talk to you more, probably because this is going to run out. I'll probably have to do a separate interview, but I want to know how you you stay so active. You do physical labor for a living. You're not sitting at a desk every day.
Nope. Couldn't do that.
You just ran a race, 5K? You're up on roofs hauling solar panels around. You walk to church. You're really active.
Mm-hmm.
And well, you're not 30 years old either.
Double that. 60.
Okay, so you're 60 and you're like fit, lightweight. How'd you feel today? Like, did you get after you carried 24 solar panels in the last 3 days. Each one up a ladder, onto the roof and then across the roof. And how do you feel? Like, is your back sore? Your legs sore?
Not really. The one thing about this food is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it tends not to make you sleepy.
Mm.
I enjoy a little 15-minute power nap at noon.
That's up.
But
and you're ready to
you
go.
don't get sleepy. Yeah.
Yeah, because these unhealthy foods cause inflammation. And so I'd imagine you could probably get pretty sore in your body from doing this stuff.
Right. It's in the opposite direction. Your body's getting worked out hard. Last thing you need is more inflammation on top of that
Good point.
to exacerbate the problem.
Really good point.
But this helps your body heal a lot more quickly. Recovery. Speeds up your recovery time from working hard.
So you could very well be like Abraham was, having his first child at 100.
Right. I can see that.
If you were eating this way, potentially, I mean, God willing, there's a lot of other factors in there too, but they're out of your control. We can't control everything, we can't even control access to this kind of quality food. I mean, we could lose access somehow, but it's a gift from God. But you know what? The more that I'm around you and I see it, I don't think you're going to be able to marry an American.
Well, I'm an American, so.
Yeah, but the chances of finding a female version of you,
There's a female out there.
I can do anything.
There's a female out there where her friend's saying, I don't think you're going to find an American. Because she's probably eating like me. And they're
Hang
probably
outside the wooden utensil store all day. Maybe, one of these days.
I guess that's a possibility.
This is so good. My body's like craving this.
As well it should.
What have I been doing to my poor body? Not feeding it like this every day. Lentils are really good this way. I never thought they were good,
So,
that good.
lentils go way back. It's called pulse in the Bible. This Ezekiel bread is made with pulse. In other words, they would sprout the lentils that we just ate, but they would dry them. And after they're sprouted and then they're dried, then they grind them into flour, and that's part of the flour in Ezekiel bread. And God talks about it. Just got to read the Bible.
Yeah, the recipe, the ingredient recipe is in the Bible for that bread, I know.
Yes.
In the book of Ezekiel. And at that time, they wouldn't have understood some of those properties that we understand now through, research and chemical analysis, whatever.
Well,
But that's like a really
Adam
quality.
was pretty smart, and they're closer to Adam than we were. They might even have been smarter than us.
Yeah, their brains were definitely smart.
I mean, they might have
smarter
known a
than us.
lot of this stuff because God's a pretty smart guy, and we were created after His image.
Good point.
So I would, a lot of people, it's a natural conclusion to make, but I'm starting to think that a lot of those guys back then were actually smarter than us.
I'm not really sure who's smarter, but I do believe that it is smart to eat well. And, we may spend more and I may take some time and effort to do this, but fathers, the cost of not being healthy due to our poor food choices is going to be much greater. Until next time, fathers.